is everyone doing this evening? I'd like to take the time to welcome you to another Morning Glory Apostolic Prophetic Center video. I am your host, Dedric Hubbard, and today we're going to continue our message from this morning entitled Hug the Curve. Hug the Curve, and we're going to be in 2 Timothy chapter 3 because as we was relaying in our earlier message is that God wants us to have our ears open to change. A lot of us are void of hearing the voice of God in which it relates to change. And for many of us, the reason why we have trouble listening to the voice of God when he institute change is because for many of us, we are too devoted to our carnal way of life. And when you are devoted to a carnal way of life, it takes away from what you thought was happiness. It takes away from what you thought was joy. It takes away from the identity that you thought you had. So, in that being said, many of us are failing to hear the voice of God, and what we're doing, we are hugging the curve as it relates to the spirit, and not to the spirit, but to the flesh, because your spirit is void of that connection that you need in God. 2 Timothy chapter 3, it says, "This know also that in the last days perilous times will come." Okay, perilous time. But what you got to understand in order to understand what he said in this note also, you got to go back to chapter 2 of 2 Timothy, where he talks about endure hardness as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. We see it's like you out here in this war, all right, and it's your time to go home. And you telling everybody, I got 2 months before I got home. I got 1 month before I go home. Ooh, it's 2 weeks before I'm going home tomorrow. But suddenly they send new orders. You don't go home tomorrow. You got to stay a little while longer. Ooh. So as a good soldier, you endure that necessarily suddenly change, not because it don't affect you, but because you believe in the fight you fight. The reason a lot of us can't let go of the world, we don't believe in the fight we fight. We don't. See, he goes on down to say, study, show yourself approved unto God, a worker, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of truth. I was ashamed for that person the other day that told me love and like is the same thing. I was really ashamed because if you can't understand, if you can't understand the difference between love and like, how can you discern the difference between good and evil? Can you discern the difference between living and dying? How can you know the difference between being in God and of God? I'd be ashamed for people like that. I'd be ashamed because see, somewhere a change has to take place. that in your delusional state of living, that you don't pinpoint two different things with two different definitions, with two different depth of understanding as the same. You know what that means? That means you don't know the difference between God and flesh. The Bible tells us to come to God as little children. Little children know the difference between love and light. But here we are in 2 Timothy chapter 3. And it states, this know also that in the last days perilous times shall come. Do y'all just read the Bible, or do you really look at certain words to see exactly what it means? See, perilous is defined as dangerous. That means it applies to something that may cause harm or loss unless dealt with carefully. It means bringing or involving the chance of loss or injury. It's something when God allows me to warn many of you when you are going into perilous situation. And many of you heed the warning and turn away. It's dangerous to know that you've been warned of God and reject God's warning. It's dangerous to kick against bricks because you put yourself in a hazardous situation. Hazardous is defined, or it implies great and continuous risk of harm or failure. See, we in perilous times now. Y'all see how many women meet these men and for whatever reason the relationship go wrong, they get angry and they often these women. Y'all got to hug the curve. I wouldn't be a woman in this day and age that I wouldn't even give a man my name unless he heard the voice of God, let alone have sex with him. Perilous times also is dying as precarious. That means it suggests a level of insecurity and uncertainty. See, a lot of people that wrong me, they know they in perilous time. A lot of people that lied on me, they know they in perilous time. Y'all know how I know? Because they stay on Brother Hubbard YouTube page, peeking at his videos, trying to see what he gonna say. See, they so dumb, stupid, and downright, what's the word I want to use? I can't think of one right there. But watch this. I'm not worrying about what they doing. Because I ain't living in perilous time. I hear the voice of God. See, they're not unsure. So their insecurity and their uncertainty of who they offended, who they disrespected, who they lied on, they got to run and see what Brother Hubbard said. Guess what? I got your spirit held hostage right here in my hand. Because at any given time, I can say something from the Holy Ghost and destroy your whole life, and you don't even know it. That's why I tell people to leave me alone. So watch this. I block the healers, not because, not because I'm hiding anything. It's because I'm trying to tell you, stop looking at what I'm doing. See, it's done for you to not to respect the God in a person, not respect the man of a person. But now you got to sneak to see what that man doing. That's what we wanted you to do, to let you know, here go your spirit right here. Notice I said in my right hand. I'm going to tell y'all a secret. Paralysis also strongly implies the immediacy of danger. You know how dumb that is? I told y'all to live your life prophetically. You don't even know when I'm doing prophetic things. See, because I said, see, I'm talking to the ones who like to run the Brother Hubbard secret. So when y'all get back on that today to look at what I said for the day, this your message, right? I got to make times for you, let you know. See, because your spirit right here, spiritually speaking, you notice I drink from the crystal cup. That's prophetic within itself. Because what crystal is known for? They're known for them small square burgers. They be hidden when you're hungry and you're broke. But then you notice I take my right hand and I got this beautiful Elijah cup. I drink from one, I sip from the other. You don't even know how the wrath of God finna pour out on you because you can't discern the difference into why I'm doing what I'm doing. That's when you don't go against nobody, when you can't discern the difference of who they really are. Back to my message. For men shall be lovers of themselves. Y'all know what that means, don't you? Somebody sent me an email. Hold on. Let me respond. Let me respond. Lovers of themselves. See, a person that loves of them. See, we in that age now. See, we in that age where people say, where people are taught, live your truth. Live in your truth. It don't say live in God's truth. It said live in your truth. We live in a time where they say, uh, 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 you got to, you got to go where people support you at. See, they taught to love themselves unconditionally. That means if they want to get a BBL, if they want to get a stomach staple, if they want to get these things, do what makes you happy. What about the gospel that teaches us we got to do what God makes us happy? Because see, the reason Timothy had to write this, Paul had to write this to Timothy, is that the love of self is the foundation for all the depravity that follows in Paul's discourse. See, he knew. See, you got people marrying themselves. They marry themselves. I can't find nobody better than me, so I'm gonna marry me. They round here. They round here telling me that little $20 you throwing ain't nothing. I need at least $1,000 because I got to do this. I got to do that. I was man. I felt this man pain. The man was a truck driver. And he hadn't married a woman. It ain't been no more than 2 years, and they want a divorce. And she telling the man, "Don't worry about coming to court. They just need your social security number and this and that. I'm not trying to take everything you got. You know, I just want to make this simple, so you don't have to come off the road." When the divorce was finalized, I felt this man pain. He was on TikTok complaining. She took half of his savings account. She took everything this man had. Under the guise, I don't want nothing you got. 54, 53, 52, 51, 50, 49, 48. I met my the ex-wife when I was around 45 years old. Everything that I already had accumulated, I felt that man pain. that, that bastard took it all. Right down to the silverware. Right down to the sheets. The Dawn towels. My sardines. My spam. My Vienna sausages. My ice cream. Lovers of self. And then got the nerve. Oh, it was so easy for us to get married. It should be so easy for divorce. I felt that man pain. Damn right it's easy. If you take it everything, shit, it don't get easier than that when you ain't giving a man, I mean, everything. I keep saying it for a reason because God keep replaying them in my mind. Don't don't marry nobody who love themselves more than they love God. Cause he goes on covetous. See, a person that loves themselves stems from a form of pride. So in this covetous, that's why these women saying, you don't love me how I want to be loved. But watch this. Some of them don't even know they self because they don't know what love is. That's why they go from man to man. That's why some men go from women to women. Because until you love yourself, the only way you're gonna know what love is when somebody trampolining you. Y'all got that? I learned a new word, trampolining. That sounds a little better though. Y'all know what trampolining is, don't you? Use your imagination. See, when a person loves themselves, they like to hear accolades and praises of themselves because their self-worth is in their self. So if you don't tell them that they beautiful, you don't love them. If you don't tell them they the best thing that happened since peanut butter and jelly, you don't love them. Because then they become boasters. My husband say this, my wife say this. Watch people who overdo things that don't need to be overdone. The thing about having a man of God will spot your insecurity and build you over without you even knowing it. A man with no insecurity or no knowledge of your insecurity, they gonna speak on what you look like because they can't change who you are. And what I mean by change who you are, they can't look at the weakness you have and speak to your strength. So they go to their strength, which is your weakness. Girl, you sure fine today. I like them jeans you got on. Oh, see, they like them compliments because their identity is in their looks. Yeah, they in their looks. Ain't nothing wrong with looking good. But when looking good becomes an idol, it's a problem to God. Then they proud. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. See, them the kind of women that be on Facebook that be posting all them sexy pictures and stuff, and the minute men come in the inbox, ooh, all they want is some coochie. Leave me alone, leave me alone. You want that attention. So you misdirect the positive attention you want based on your body. You misdirect it to negative attention like you don't want it, but that's what you was after. Because you were prideful. What happens when them tatas drop? What happens when you get sick? What happens when you get fat? That's why a man got to love you more than your body. But the flip side of that, you got to make sure he love you more than what you can do for him. So now you're blasphemers, disobedience to parents, unthankful, unholy. I did that message, do you remember? And I was talking about a particular individual that God wanted to make sure that person remembered how many times that he saved her life. But the minute he says something about something she want to buck up. He said, let the reprobate go. Tell her I don't need her no more. We ain't, listen here. When I tell y'all, if I don't have time for a person who don't hear the voice of God or seeking to hear the voice of God, if I say that, guess what? Guess where the instruction came from? That means God ain't got the time because he's redirecting his energy on bringing the remnant together. See, we don't need nobody in our circle that say they all for God till some fine woman come along, till some half-baked man come along, and all of a sudden we don't know what we talking about. That stay where you at, heathens. You unthankful hypocrite. You unholy harlot without natural affection. We already proved that when you don't, if you don't know the difference between love and like and say they mean the same thing, that lets us know you don't even know you can't love yourself naturally if you don't even know the difference between love and like. How you love yourself? In order to love yourself, you got to know what love is. The Bible said God is love, and whoso abideth in him, that's how his love shows. You think laying upon a man's arm is love? And wrong answers. Mm. Truth breaker. God, I'm gonna work so many hours a week, and I'm gonna be out here all day till I get my hours. But the minute they get depressed, the minute they get lonely, the minute they get broke, The minute a man come around, God don't get his time, but everything else get God time. God don't need nobody like that. I'm coming up on the rough side of the mountain. I'm doing my best to make it in. False accusers, incontinent, fierce, despiser of those that are good. I think my next message is gonna be where the track stars at. Cause see, it's it's funny. The same people who praise the word I teach, the same people who praise the wisdom I give it, those are the same people who done turned their back on me. That's why I don't live for the praises of people. I don't live for the praises of people. You know why? Because people just like animals. Anything that's stray, they're gonna go to what feed them. And a lot of these people, they're not believers, they stray animals. They love to eat from God till they find something else that can feed their flesh. Yeah, that's what they do. Ooh, got some money. Yeah. Well, thank you for that little. Thank you for it. Traders, y'all done traded on God because you got heady, which means haughty, high minded. See, those are levels of pride that you accomplish. Because the last one says, lovers of pleasure more than lovers of God. People don't encourage. See, when that man come around and rub that bud and take him on, take him out to eat, got an eye car, we forget about God because our flesh is being fed. See, following God ain't for the weak. So here we see a lot of people only follow God till they think God answered their prayers. And then God becomes an option. He becomes the appetizer. Yeah, that was a good one there. He becomes an appetizer instead of the main course. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power therefore, from such turn away. That's why God said, He said, let the reprobate do what they want to do. He let what he said. He said, tell her I don't need her no more. See, the Bible talks about don't let your good be evil spoken of. Use to catch the fish, but you're gonna use sex to keep them in the boat. You said something, then Hubbard. Y'all bring these people in with God, but you turn them out with your flesh. Timothy said it says having a form of godliness. Form is defined as the shape and structure of something as distinguished from its material. See, the reason a lot of people, when they break up, when they divorce, the reason they block their ex, because the real them has to come out. See, sometimes you can live with a figure of who they are for 9, 10, 15, 20 years. But the minute they no longer need you, they don't want you to see who they really are. Yeah, they don't want to see. See, it's a shame that these people so haughty that they don't even care that you know who they are. They don't care. Form also means a body as of a person, especially in its external appearance or as distinguished from the face. See, it's something to walk around and presenting God in your body, but He really ain't in your heart. Form of godliness. See, if God was in your heart, a lot of you wouldn't be running from the truth. You're a track star, but but wanna talk like you're a bodybuilder. Hug the curb. Stop letting a man or a woman overwhelm you because of how you look, what you do, what you got. Ask the man, what do you see in me outside of my external appearance? Ask a woman what she sees in you as a man outside your spiritual, your external appearance. See, if it ain't no connection spiritually, the only connection you got is fleshly. Form of godless, denying the power therein. It says the next definition is the essential nature of a thing as distinguished from its matter. See, you can hold this Bible all you want. You can hold up signs says I love God all you want. But when the rubber hits the road, some of y'all don't love God good enough to let sin go. You like those back rubs. Yeah, you like the old back rubs. You like that holding hands, going out to eat. That's good. That's good. But what that got to do with the gospel? What a man or a woman taking y'all out to eat got to do with the gospel? What's riding in a fancy automobile got to do with the gospel? What's staying in somebody's house got to do with the gospel? See, if what you're doing is not bringing you closer to the gospel, but it's bringing you closer to a person, then truth be told, that wasn't God's decision, that was yours. Form of godliness, but denying the power therein. You can't deny nothing that you don't have. That's why the first man that come around can talk you out your drawers. That's why the woman can talk you out your money. You ain't got no power. That's why you can sometimes sit there and listen to comfort conversations on end with a woman you want, knowing she don't want you. Ooh. That's why you can stay in a marriage knowing the marriage ain't working. I take 2 sips on that. One for the road. The next definition, it said the component of a thing that determine its kind. We're in a season of judgment. And I told many of you in the prophetic word that if you don't get out of something, you're going to get caught in it. Did I not say that? So with this definition, you just showing us who you really are. You ain't all God. You just wanted the right man, or what you thought was the right man, or the right woman, the right job, the right locations. See, oftentimes God will give you things just to see what you do with it. And for many of you, when God give you a glimpse of what he wants to give you, guess what you do? You forget about God. Denying the power. From such turn away. Watch this. For of this sort are they which creep into houses and lead captive silly women laden with sins, led away with divers lusts, ever learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now, as James and Jambres withstood Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds reprobate concerning the faith. But they shall proceed no further, for their folly shall be manifested to all men, as there also was. See, they walking around who he think he is. God can't tell him to tell me he don't need me. I'm reading scripture. He said, Dedric, tell her I don't need her no more. But because it's a reprobate of the faith, they still praying and doing the same things that they did as when they had a little relationship with God. And now knowing that the relationship gone, they can't even tell the difference. You know why? Because it wasn't authentic. It's something when you can't feel when the Spirit of God leaves your presence. Ooh, food. Appreciate that, sister. Oh, thank you, man. And so for many of you, that's why I had been saying, I said, check your faith and make sure that you got a relationship with God. I said, check your faith and see if God listening to you. Because I was trying to tell some of you, I know this coming. So one way to show that a person has a form of godliness is that they don't believe that God can lift his spirit off of them, but yet and still, they still think they praising God. They still think they praying to God. I'm here to tell you, you're not. That's what I call a lot of people do things in routine. That's why I tell y'all, don't pray with people who don't have a relationship with God. Because when you put your faith with somebody who don't have faith and have built faith, sometimes you corrupt your own faith because you believe more in the person than you do in God. But you know what? Do what you want to do. I'm going to eat. That's what I'm going to do.